and scars. I'll brush you off just like the dust upon my shoulder. I have a hunch of who you are. Believe it or not, I got the strength to blow you over. I'm a hurricane, I'm bringing thunder and rain. I'm a hurricane if you get in my way. I'm a hurricane, always on top of my game. I'm a hurricane, I'm trying to get in my way. Hurricane, I'm bringing thunder and rain. I'm a hurricane if you get in my way. I'm a hurricane, always on top of my game. I'm a hurricane, I'm trying to get in my way. I'm a hurricane, I'm bringing thunder and rain. I'm a hurricane if you get in my way. I'm a hurricane, always on top of my game. I'm a hurricane, I'm trying to get in my way. Hurricane, I'm bringing thunder and rain. I'm a hurricane if you get in my way. I'm a hurricane, always on top of my game. I'm a hurricane, I'm trying to get in my way.
You got me feeling like a firebolt high in the sky, looking like a thunderstorm. Oh, here we go, 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 go. You're easy to remember, so hard to forget. Baby, it's a coward way you strut. How could I not worship every inch your feet have touched? Baby, run away with me. You kill it lonely. You make my eyes unsee. All the crazy. You make my heart believe there's only one of you, baby. Run away with me. Don't leave me lonely. You make my eyes unsee. All the crazy. You make my heart believe. There's no more clouds on the freeway. Now tell me you'll stay. Gonna now and last someday. Here we go, go, go. Rose bed, fancy hotels, girl, you know. Baby, run away with me. You kill it lonely. You make my eyes unsee. All the crazy. You make my heart believe there's only one of you, baby. Run away with me. Don't leave me lonely. You make my eyes unsee. All the crazy. You make my heart believe. And we'll stay in bed all day. Make love in every way. Baby, run away with me. You kill the lonely. You make my eyes unsee. All the crazy. You make my heart believe. Oh, baby, run away with me. Don't leave me lonely. You make my eyes unsee. All the crazy. You make my heart believe. You make my heart believe.
Hello and welcome. Finally, we are live. We just had a small problem with our champion of championship favorites, Matthew Heaven, having a little bit of a trouble with a checksum, so we just had to sort a little bit of issue with him. But hello and welcome to round 5, halfway point of Renault RS01 challenge here at Leadpole Racing. We are racing around a very marmite of a circuit, Zoda. Some people love it. Vast majority of people absolutely despise it, myself included. I am not a big fan of Zoda. I know a few of it here. On Victor Bernard, he said that he actually quite enjoys the circuit. 6 minutes left of qualifying session. What's the current state? Max Schlady takes an early lead with Chris Boxall quite behind. Ike Marva, another driver, both Chris and Ike both have a lap time faster than Mark does around this circuit. So, but it's all about qualifying, not how fast you are in practice. So that's the top 3. Max Livingston, look at that, P4 there. Bobby Vakuinov, our current championship leader. Bobby Vakuinov only down in P5. Let's stay on board with Marcos. He's set the absolute fastest middle sector. Let's see if he can improve any further. Andrew Bayer is currently 7th. 6th is Juan Gramage, the main championship rival to Bobby and Mark Schlady. Juan has to outscore both of them to close up on the championship. Keep the hopes alive. Ike Marva still with the outside chance if he does extremely well here. Andrew Bayer 7th, Giovanni Marcucci is currently 8th. Ano Luka Giboj, Simas Rupalenas as Victor Bernard puts P6. Jay Brandich, Amelia George and Matthew Heaven. I can expect Matthew Heaven to be up in 125s very quickly. But this looks like a track that could throw in a works in the spanner a few times. I mean, look at the lap times here. Schlady, Chris, Ike, and Juan and Bobby are 5th and 6th. Chris Boxall currently showing the pace that he showed in the practice server. The only driver who went below 125.4s. He did 125.2, and he missed the final round. And in fact, both of the Cyanide Academy drivers have missed the previous round, which is very unfortunate for them. What is Chris Boxall not? Doesn't look like a lap time that actually settled in. Was it? Yeah, it was an invalidated final sector. So let's jump. Oh, jump on board with somebody who is jumping like a kangaroo, like a rabbit, like a hare. Up and over everything. He's still up on a personal best. Again, jumping the car. No worries about underneath or anything. At the end of this race, or even at the end of qualifying, he may find himself with a drive shaft in his car. But so far, so good. 7 fan drifts up on Mark Schlady's time. Looking to be the first driver in the qualifying session to set 125.4. Where's Matthew Heaven? Matthew Heaven, like I said, look at him. He already puts it into P4. Back on the pace already, 3 times behind the pole sitter. So let's see. Ike Marva across the start-finish line. Here he goes, the final couple of corners, and it is a 125.586. So he improves. Oh, so close to Mark Schlady. Is still just 25 thousandths of a second away from Mark Schlady. What else is happening? Chris Boxall is up on a personal best himself. Giovanni Marcucci himself looking for a good improvement, looking to get into those 126s, where a lot of drivers we have. We have Max Livingston, Juan, Bobby, Victor, Andrew. This could be quite a good tussle between all of these drivers. But Giovanni across the start-finish line. What will it be for the Italian? It looks like 127.2, so not enough of an improvement, it seems, to move himself up. Ike Marva setting up the purple sector. Now we're talking 2 tenths up on Mark Schlady. That could put him to 125.3s. A very good lap time indeed. So let's ride on board back with Ike Marva. Let's see. Oh, it's a purple middle sector as well. Ike Marva is looking for that 124. Will he be able to get into 124s? Like I said, in the run up to this, only one driver dipped beneath 125.4. Can Ike be the second driver? Oh, it looks like the final sector just got away from him. Oh no, Ike lost it all in the final sector. 2.5 tenths in the final sector. Ah, that could have put him well into 125 threes, 125.2s even. But it does secure him that provisional pole for the time being, as almost everyone is up on invalid lap times. And Bobby Vakuinov here, it's just not not having that middle sector. Our championship leader might see his championship lead diminish slightly after today. Oh, that's an exciting prospect for us here watching. 1 minute 30 on the qualifying board. So drivers who are just starting their lap now will have a chance for 2. And now you're starting your final lap time. So what do we have? Vakuinov. Vakuinov is here. Not the lap time he needed. What is this happening up there? Ikemarva. I think Ikemarva might be... Yeah, Ikemarva is out of the qualifying, I think. He's 23 seconds down. I think he's just out of the box. Mark Schlady looking to respond. Personal best in the first sector. Oh, that car jumping. Oh, that definitely did not sound right. He's still up on the personal best. Maybe that is how you take this chicane. But it looks like he's losing down that straight. Second chicane again. Not so much. Matthew Heaven is setting absolute fastest sector. Ooh, it looks like Mark might be out of the qualifying and have to settle for that P2. Who else do we have on a pretty good? Victor Bernard up on a personal best, it seems. 126.2, P7 for him. Just behind Juan Gramache. But let's actually... With the Mark has pulled off, so that's going to be qualifying over for Mark. Chris Boxall up on improvement. Oh, Matthew Heaven, he was up on an improvement, but invalidated his lap time, so Matthew Heaven will not be moving up any further. Unless he can cross the start-finish line. He may be able to get one more lap in. What is the qualifying? Matthew Heaven gets one more lap in, so he will be able to get one more lap in. Chris Boxall certainly won't. This is his final lap in for Chris Boxall. What else is happening? Victor Bernard on an improvement as well. So Bobby Vakuinov settles in for P8. P just in front of Andrew Bayer. P11 for Simonas. Anno will be P12. Jay Brandish will take P13. Luka Giboc will take P14. And Amelia Jawovic will be P15. She said she hasn't been driving for 2 months. And she said she can tell. But she is someone who can get into those 120s. So if everything goes tits up at the front, we might see some interesting action. And we see Victor Bernard moves up to P6 ahead of Max Livingston. Juan Gramache moves up to P5. Chris Boxall moves up to pole position. Pole position for Chris Boxall. Can Ikemarva take it away from him? Oh, you know what? We might see it if Ikemarva is able to just finish up that lap. Next to cross the line is Juan Gramache. Juan Gramache, where will he end up? It's a 125.9 still. Then it's Ikemarva. Can Ikemarva improve? Ikemarva doesn't improve. Again, that final sector just goes away from him. Mark Schlady. Ooh, Mark Schlady not amazing in the sectors. What will be Jawovic just ahead of him? Jawovic with a 130. Mark Schlady. Ooh, no improvement for him. And I don't think there will be an improvement for Matthew Heaven either. What a qualifying session we have. We can already see the group up to from P1. That will be up to... Yeah, up to P5. We can even say P6, P7. That will be developing. I reckon that will be the main group of fighting. So, as we go back and ensure everything running smoothly. Right, so that is your qualifying sessions. Everyone needs to make sure to leave in time, and then we will be going through the order, and it looks like we're gonna have quite a close fought battle for that win here at Zoda. It'll be very interesting to see what happens. So certainly a few interesting drivers. Max Livingston making a debut in Season 5 is going to be a driver to look for. I think he might surprise us. One driver that I think will surprise us in today's race is Jay Brandage. May not have seen in the qualifying session, but Jay Brandage has been showing some very good pace comparable to his teammate Andrew Bayer. Now we just gotta make sure everything is just fine. So, we will bring you the qualifying session in just a few moments, but I am very interested to see. I think I say this before every single race. I think this round will throw a surprise here and there. It seems to be like a season full of surprises. I reckon a lot of the championship standings will be affected, especially with if Vakuinov is not able to find the pace that he has shown previously in some of the previous rounds. Mark Shaladi is in the poised position to take that championship lead away from his teammate. Ike Marve is looking to himself put in a good championship recovery drive. And let's not discard Matthew Heaven. He is the driver that outscored everyone in the past 2 rounds. Almost taking 4 points in the first race that he has been here, so he's definitely... Oh, we can definitely see him close up the gap. Even if it doesn't seem that way now, we can definitely see it. So, we're just making sure everything is fine. 20-minute race. And oh, good. Right, so the server is going live. Oops. Let's see. All right, so the race server is here, and then now we will have presented for you 20 minutes of driving, of some proper racing here at Ledpo Racing. Renault RS01, you saw the gaps that were here today, that were at the qualifying. This should be a very, very interesting event. So, we shall go and review the grid. While we have time. So, we have at the wall apparently. We have Chris Boxall on pole position, alongside him Ike Marave. Mark Shiladi lines up first on the second row, just ahead of Matthew Heaven. All 4 of these drivers, Egg, Juan Gramache, all 5 of these drivers in championship contention, so we might see some early aggressive moves here today. Victor Bernard lines up P6 with P7 Max Livingston on his debut. What a great debut for him, ahead of the current championship leader Bobby Vakuinov. Bobby just not able to find what he needed in that qualifying, just ahead of Andrew Bayer. Now that this is the 10th, I believe this is the 10th position. No, this is position 9. Apologies. So 9th place, Andrew Bayer ahead of Giovanni Marcucci, who himself will look to at least keep within that 10th spot to give himself that reverse pole. Just behind him, Simonas Ruplanas on return to racing here at Renault RS01. Ano here as well in the P13th, P12th spot. Apologies. 13th, we have Jay Brandish. Now watch out for this guy, because I reckon he might be able to sneak his way up to top 10. He's been quite rapid on the practice server. And then we have Luka Djiboc and Amelia Jovovic, and that is your grid for the very first race. Gotta make sure we have right, everything is set up just fine. Hopefully no red flags here today. We don't want to see any red flags. We don't want to see no carnage. We want to see some clean racing. It's almost 60-minute boards will go up until we see lights out. And usually we see some great racing here in race 1. And looking at the grid, there's only a few names missing. We're missing Karolczak, Martin Oliveira. We're missing Daniel Tsutsui. If you had those names, you'd have an entire top 10 grid of some quality drivers. every single one of those is a championship contender. Johan was almost a 2-time LPR champion, as we mentioned before. Just not enjoying these cars, and that's a fair point. Not everyone enjoys every single car, but this will be an interesting one, I suppose. I reckon. Enough waffling. 10 seconds board go up. The lights are up, and soon we will have lights out. And it's 4 lights, 5 lights, 6 lights. And it's lights out and away they go. Quite a slow reaction time for most of these drivers. We already see drivers jostling for position turn 1. Quite a sweeper. You can't take it at high speed, but will they go and make it easy? Ooh, it looks like Vojt Vakunov already. We see, oh, that's Max Livingston. And a few drivers up in the gravel already. Oh, disaster for those drivers. Let's see how it goes more further down the field. It looks like most of the drivers pointing the right way. Not too much time lost. Drivers being let down. Chris Boxall, Ika Marva already battling for that first lead. Trying to take it from... Ika already trying to take it from Chris Boxall. More carnage now. They said Giovanni Marcucci outside of the top 10. Who's the big winner? Amelia Jawovic, the big winner out of those. Up to top 10. Drivers bouncing across the curbs. Let's see how these drivers... Oh, we see side by side. This is where we can see most of the carnage that will be down below the drivers. Or lower down the field. One by one they go. And we already see the 2 packs emerging. Ika Marva already getting 1 second gap. And further down the field, I think Andrew Bayer making some moves or trying to. Look at Jeepers, look at Luca, he's been up to P8. Oh, it looks like Chris Boxall is losing a few spots. Oh, did Mark go in a bit too deep and losing a few places? Look, Victor Bernard up to 4th place. Matthew Heaven. Amelia George, ooh, just a bit too deep, I think, herself. Or was there a little bit of contact? I'm not too sure. But there's been action up and down the field. Max Schlady trying not to lose as many places. Look at Bobby Vakunov already passed his teammate. 1 championship contender down. He needs to get in front of other championship contenders. Most specifically, he needs to get ahead of Matthew Heaven. Juan, he already got, oh, he in fact got ahead of 2 championship contenders. Look at Juan over there. Now, these 3 is what we need to watch out for. We need to see what Juan will do here. If Juan can get ahead of Bobby Vakunov, that's 1 step closer to that championship. But he will really need to keep Matthew Heaven behind. Oh, further carnage downstairs. We got Jawovic and Marcucci. Marcucci recovering 1 place up ahead of him. Let's ride on board with Victor Bernard battling for 3rd place with Matthew Heaven. Victor relishes on these battles. He is a aggressive driver. He pushes the limits and pushes braking zones a little bit too far here, I think, as Mark Shiladi still fighting for that P5 spot with Juan and Bobby. And the second group is now forming. It looks like even Luca is catching up to them. And Max Livingston is out, and so is Amelia. Was there a little bit of contact? Yes, there was a contact between these 2 drivers. Go, Max, go. I think Amelia is having a little bit of a trouble. So I reckon you should have just gone, my friend, and deal with the consequences later. Because now I think there's a trio of you way back when. 12 seconds now. Oh, you can forget about the reverse top grid now. Ike Marva sets the fastest lap of the race thus far. Look at Ike Marva just running away. Zoda seems to be his like new home ground. He's got it all figured out. He's just gonna drive away from Chris Boxall. Oh, that's very wide from Mark Schlady. That might put him under pressure from Luca Gboj. Luca might not have thought that he'd be battling Mark this early in the race. But we already see 3 groups, even 4 groups remaining. We have the top 4. We have the following 4. And then the 4 behind. So we have 3 different... Oh, and then the final trio. So we have 4 different groups. 4 battling. Now, Bobby and Juan and Mark. There's a dilemma for them. They can keep battling to see who gets the most points. But that just plays into the hands of Matthew Heaven, who currently outscores them massively. Massively outscores them. And in the championship where you still have this round and 5 more rounds, you really need to be looking for every single one of those points. Now, to remind you that you can, we do have a second live stream as well. We have Sim Racing TV live streaming this race. So if you want alternative viewpoints and alternative commentary, feel free to go give them a subscribe. As Chris Boxall says, the fastest lap of the race, trying to bring Ike Marave in. But as it currently stands, it's Ike Marave from Chris Boxall from Matthew Heaven, the top three fighting for that. And in fact, it looks like Victor Bernard dropped off, and Mark Shalati keeps just driving on the grass, just not the most optimum line. This is a championship contenders ride. It would have been extremely interesting. Ooh, a little bit more. Was there a little bit more contact? I think that Amelia may have dropped it herself. There was a little bit of contact. And Max Livingston is up to P13. Arno dropping down to P12. I think there may have been a little bit of interest. I know Arno said that he absolutely despised. Oh, sideways action from Matthew Heaven. That's going to the right, playing to the right, right into the hands of Chris Boxall. The pressure is off and pressure back on with Victor Bernard for that final podium place. Can Victor secure another podium finish? Or might even be the first podium finish for Victor in this championship. He himself is not very keen on these cars. Extremely understeery cars, just not his forte. If you want to see Victor, open wheelers, Ferrari challenge, GT3 challenge, and we've seen Praga champion, so he was able to drive that Praga to its limits and beyond. And Ginetta GT4s, where he almost got a double championship himself. It would have been a 2 double championship for Spain. Yeah, this is another battle that will certainly not go away anytime soon. Amelia Jawovic, I think, is down a little bit. Ignore lifetimers. Luca is not, in fact, ahead of Bobby. And it looks like that freeway battle is not ending anytime soon. In fact, we may have a battle. Ooh, very early on the brakes from Luca or late on the brakes from Andrew. Regardless, both make it around just in time. Or just fine. 2.5 tenths separating the two. Will Andrew Bayer be able to go up another spot? Giovanni back into the top 10, so he's got that reverse grid pole. And that's where he would definitely want to stay. But as Luca and Andrew fight, the top 7 will be able to drive away. Now is Bobby, can Bobby catch up to the back of the podium places? Juan will certainly try and do all he can to get by Bobby. And it looks like Andrew Bayer is falling back ever so slightly. Let's have a look at the lap times. Personal best for Matthew Heaven. Personal best all the way around. What are the lap times saying? Oh, in fact, it's Mark who's catching up anyone up to the back of Victor. I think Chris had a little bit of an issue. 136.3 for him, 125.9 for Matthew Heaven, catching up that 4 times down to below 1 second. Difficult track to pass though. They only have a few overtaking opportunities. The hairpin towards the start of sector 3 is one of your best options. The chicane is such a single file line that you can't really mount any defense here, as you can see. We saw a lot of cars jumping over there. And I think a lot of them might be attempting to slow it down, not to spin too much. Ooh, look how fast he closes up onto the back of one. Ooh, sideways. Go on, Mark saves it, but that's not going to help his lifetime. Oh, in fact, he doesn't actually lose that much time. So, well, good driving from the Hungarian national here. Keeping that reins on that car firmly. Oh, and looks like Luca, we switched just at the right time as Luca drifts out wide, 4-wheel steer. Andrew Bayer, remaining just within the track limits to get alongside Luca. Who's gonna be late on the brakes into the chicane? Oh, Luca putting the car just in the right places to prevent Andrew from taking a spot. As Matthew Heaven says, the fastest lap of the race, and you can already tell. Oh, that's places swap. Mark and Juan somehow managed to get out alongside. Let's watch this for a moment. This looks like fun. Side by side they go, and Juan retakes that lead, though they lost a few tenths onto the back of Bobby. Mark could be pressuring Juan to help secure his teammate the championship, but I wouldn't be surprised if he wants to the championship up for himself. And again, oh, around the outside in the chicane, but Mark goes into the gravel. Oh, that was almost a fantastic maneuver into the first chicane. Oh no. Oh, if it wasn't for that gravel, I'm reckoned that he could have had, but Juan goes through the gravel. Ah, that would be very punishing. Losing so much time. Ah, disaster for both of them. One after another, landing up in the gravel. Well, now that these drivers are further spread apart, they might be able to just get a little bit of a breather as Andrew Bayer lines up and move. No. Luca forbids him. Not close enough. Giovanni Marcucci catching up. He's going to look for that top 8 flight himself. Victor Bernard now says the fastest lap of the race. So yeah, Victor Bernard might just be getting into the ribbon himself. He said he likes Zoda. Victor Bernard is one of the few drivers that actually say he likes Zoda. So I'm not surprised that he is up in such high spots given the race. But what's a mark of a good calendar? It's a variety of races that suits different drivers. Because it's a real test of driver skill in that regard. Ike Marave, fastest of anyone in the first sector. Look, Ike Marave looks like he's driving away. 2.5 seconds. He seems to may have this one in the bag, but knock on wood, no commentator's curse here. So let's stay on board with this fight. Oh, such a difficult track it's proving to be to make any sort of moves. Ooh, Andrew Bayer trying to straight line as much. Ooh, that's very deep for Luca. That might throw him off for a loop. Not so much this time. Let's look at the lap times. Giovanni Marcucci doing similar lap times to the duo ahead. He needs to be doing a little bit better to catch up. Although he's doing more. Luca goes wide. Luca goes wide, effectively saying, here you go, my friend. Just drive on by. As Ike Marave says the fastest lap time, takes it back from Victor Bernard. But Luca just opened the door and said, here you go, my friend. Would you like fries with that? But it's now Andrew Bayer up into 8th spot. A good position for the German national. And I think that's Luca. Ooh, that's somebody else in the gravel, potentially. We had somebody else in the gravel. Was it Max Livingston, perchance? No idea. Let's move up to there, battling for the final podium position as Victor Bernard still chasing Matthew Heaven. Now Matthew is still in the very best chances of securing, or even trying to secure, more lead in his championship. Where he finishes now, if he can finish on podium both races, come drop rounds, he will be leading the championship still. In fact, if you factor in 2 drop rounds now, Matthew is leading the championship. But if we were to finish the championship today, only 1 drop round would go into effect. If I'm not mistaken, that would give the championship to Mark Schiladi, as it currently stands. With 1 drop round, Mark Schiladi is 4 points ahead of Bobby Vakuinov. Bobby Vakuinov is only 7 points ahead of Juan Gramage. Then it would be 18 points for Matthew Heaven. So the championship standings. Now I've said it a few times before, but the championship standings are going to look extremely different after today's race. Where's Chris Boxall? Chris Boxall is 35 points behind the championship leader, just 6 points behind Ike Marave, if you factor in 1 drop round. So if Ike Marave, 29 points behind, he's doing exactly what he needs to close that gap up. .1 seconds with 6 minutes remaining. We will most likely see 4 more laps, or 5 more laps potentially. Oh, considering where they are, 4 more laps of racing. So Ika has to keep it clean for 4 more laps of racing. Juan Gramaj now on the back of Bobby Vakuinov. Look at that. I'm not sure if Juan has heard me or has seen the stream or hearing the stream. But if he can get ahead of Bobby, that would certainly help his championship fights. 4/10 he took out. And Mark Shiladi, look at him, 125.5. He closed up quite a bit on that last lap, trying to undo the damage. I wonder if all of these drivers are listening up to me. So I wonder if Bobby Vakuinov is trying to back Juan to his teammate. Oh, tail loose for Bobby right there. Seems like these drivers have found a way of getting the car to rotate through the braking zone. Now we know that's the kind of setup that... Oh, Bobby Vakuinov very deep onto the chicane. That's not gonna help him. Now, as I was saying, this is the kind of setup that Cyanide Academy is driving. Oh, late on the brakes from Juan. Is he gonna make it? No sweat there. You don't exactly have the best of places to utilize that great exit you get from that chicane. Into the hairpin we go. Onto the back straight. Good car control from all the drivers. Great exit from Juan. Look at that. You're already caught up a 10th to him. Now if he can nail this chicane, will he be able to fight Bobby into the first corner? Again, Bobby very loose on the traction. He's not able to put the power down. Seems like Juan can't just put the power down. Another 10th out. Another 10th closer to Bobby. And again, Bobby going very loose. Some interesting lines that the Bulgarian is taking. It could be throwing Juan for a loop, but look at that. Mark Shiladi is closed up even further towards the back of them, as Giovanni Marcucci is closing up to the back of P9, sorry. Seeing some side-by-side action for P12, Anno and Max Livingston. Now, Max Livingston would not be happy with the lap 1 incident for sure. He was a driver who qualified extremely well and will be looking for a much better race. Oh, look at that. We moved away for a second and Bobby and Juan are going side by side, door banging through the chicane, costing each other time. Side by side, they still go. And Max Livingston is gone. But then Max Livingston, oh, contact. Mark Shiladi is now side by side with Juan. Into the chicane they go. Ooh, they're gonna overlap. No, Bobby is just ahead. Mark almost had a look down the outside of Juan. What happened with Max Livingston? We don't know, as Mark Shiladi attacks Juan around the outside. Juan goes a little bit deep. Was there a little bit of contact? There wasn't enough space left. But it looks like we are back to square one between this trio. Oh, Juan lost a heap of loads of time with Mark Shiladi there. Ah, excitement. What we like, what we love to see. Bobby doing just enough. This is not a result we would certainly expect. I did not expect Bobby to make his way up ahead of this duo here and be able to stay ahead. Oh, look at that. It was almost a late lunge against Juan, trying to position himself. Oh, that cost Mark a heaps of loads of time. What do we have up further ahead? Is Matthew Heaven closing right onto the back of Chris Boxall. Oh, with 2 laps left to go. What will be the next? Oh, then we are almost going to be at the cusp of 2 laps. We are white flag racing. This is the final lap of the race. Ike Marve crosses the start-finish line to start the final lap of the race. So Matthew Heaven, closest he's ever been to the back of Chris, he's gonna try and make a move on the, well, country compatriot. We will definitely have to keep an eye out on Juan and Mark and Bobby. But as it currently stands, the battle to spectate is the battle for the second place. Victor Bernard is close behind. If these two start battling too much, Victor Bernard could swoop in and take 2 spots. Potentially, Victor could do the old reversal of Matthew Heaven, because it's usually Matthew that capitalizes on 2 people fighting. Mark Shiladi has fallen back a little bit. Was that a little bit of a chicane? Chris maintaining the line. Still ahead. Not by much. Victor Bernard losing 6/10 of a second. Touch of the grass into the hairpin. Not close enough. Matthew doesn't feel like he is. Oh, but Chris Boxer runs wide. Chris Boxer runs wide and gives 2nd place to Matthew Heaven at the final hurdle. Effectively penultimate corner. Chris Boxer goes a little bit wide into the hairpin without the need. Oh, self-inflicted mistake as Ike Marve wins for the 2nd time in Renault RS01. Matthew Heaven takes another 2nd place, 3rd 2nd place in 5 races. Chris Boxer back on the podium there, just ahead of Victor Bernard, who was so close. Bobby Vakuinov leads. Juan Gramage to 5th and 6th finish, with Mark Shiladi just behind the 7th place. Andrew Bayer will have a very good race up in 8th place, with Giovanni Marcucci 9th place, moving by Luka Giboc. Oh, and Brandish has gone down. Oh, Brandish has spun out and is gone down in 13th place. Oh, disaster. Sancho Bayer comes across the start-finish line. Giovanni Marcucci up in 9th place. He's going to take 2nd place on the reverse grid pole. Luka Giboc will take the reverse grid pole. And, what could have been for Jay Brandish? Anno is now being overtaken by Simas Ruplenas. So Simas Ruplenas just 1 space behind the reverse grid position. Ahead of Anno in 12th place. Jay Brandish will come across a 13th place. No doubt quite disappointed. There was so much more pace that I reckon in the American driver. With Amelia Jawovic coming across in 14th place, reminding everyone that you really have to finish the races to score some good points. And that's the final driver coming across the start-finish line. And that leaves your final positions. What a race have we had. And we still have a 2nd one to go. So, the reverse grid race. There's quite a lot of drivers within that top 10. That will certainly make it interesting from the reverse grid. Not only do we have Bobby, Juan and Mark extremely close to the front of the grid, quality drivers, and that could play very well into their championship hopes and regain some points back from Matthew Heaven and Ike Marave. Remember, there's 25 points up for grabs. That's a lot. Yeah, GG's all around. People saying, Zoda, it's so hard to be consistent. It feels like no one is almost consistent. Most breaking points are pure vibe. Shadows change from practice to race. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. Yeah, no reference points, Zoda. It's just barren. The landscape is just barren. Nothing to see, nothing to look at. I just don't like the chicanes myself. I just don't like Zoda. But it has proven quite an interesting race for sure. Drivers need to leave the thing. Somebody's mentors causing them to drive like garbage, they say, or garbage, and garbage. There we go, and the final driver has left the session, so we should be able to start race 2. Manage entry list. And the top 10 should be reversed. So manage the entry list, look at Gbudge, start the session. So we will be moving into round 2. Race 2 server is up. One thing I didn't check. Oh, yeah. Fuck. Ah, completely forgot. Almost forgot. Restart session. There we go. Now's the time. There we go. I almost made a big whoopsie daisy and not gave enough time for drivers to set their cars up. 2 minutes with everything and rejoining might not be enough. Might be enough for some if you have a fast computer, but for some it might not be enough. Which is excellent for us. Now, we have Andrew Bayer. Almost on reverse grid pole. Do we have everybody joining in? Right. So, we just gotta make sure that everybody is up. I just gotta make sure that everyone is here, so... Yes, we have everybody. Everybody is in. Fantastic, so we have Luca Gbudge on the reverse grid pole. Soon we will have Giovanni Marcucci to drive. So Giovanni Marcucci will start in second place, just ahead of Andrew Bayer. There he is, the Italian underdog. The black horse, the one that almost took a win at Long Beach last season with the Ginetta GT4s, ahead of Andrew Bayer. Oh, who was definitely a podium contender in Argentina, but if it went some incidents here and there. Mark Schiladi will start in 4th place ahead of Juan Gramache. Let's see if Mark can able to drive away effectively from Juan, seeing as it was a little bit of a cork in the bottle, particularly with Bobby Vakinov behind. But we saw what happened the start of the last race, so we'll definitely see. Victor Bena starts on 7th position ahead of Chris Boxer in 8th. Matthew Heaven takes 9th position ahead of our race winner Ike Marve, and then Simonas Ruplenas, Ano, Jay Brindage, Amelia Jawovic and Max Livingston. So this is your grid, starting grid. 1 minute board is up. And this is race 2. This is where carnage happens. Thank you for letting me know. Well, you heard the grid. You know the grid. But it's not race 1. It's now race 2. Thank you kindly for the spot. So this is what happens when you have to commentate, stream, and make sure race direction and setting up service are all at the same time. Don't do it, kids. It's bad for your health. 35 seconds left up on the board. And the race director is going to be prepared for the race that's about to happen. So, you know the drill. We are starting the race. I'm going to have to go as quickly as possible. And the lights are up. And let's hope that everyone keeps nice and easy into turn 1. 1 lights, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, 6 lights. Everyone still on the grid? Good. Because it's lights out, and away we go. And it's a good start from everyone. It looks like a great start from Luca. A slow start from Giovanni, I think that is over there. Everyone heading into turn one. Ooh, a little bit of contact. Ooh, driving a little bit wide. Giovanni going forced wide. Ooh, is that Victor Bernard that's going off into a little bit of a gravel, but everyone making it nice and through. It's going to be the chicane that's going to be the worst, if you ask me. Luca Giboc keeps that first place. Mark Shiladi already up to second place, ahead of Andrew Bayer, further down behind. How are we doing? We're doing very well. Everyone pointing the right way. Giovanni Marcucci down to P5. Still a good result. Let's see how the chicane goes. Ooh, looks like Bobby trying to make a move on Andrew Bayer. Andrew Bayer, there's a contact, and Andrew Bayer gets spun around. Ah, disaster. But you know what? A lot of yeah, Andrew Bayer. Whoa, what a disaster! Starting so high up on the grid, looking to do quite well. He was driving quite well in the first race. As everyone makes their way through the chicane, Amelia up to P13. And Mark Shiladi already up to P12. Giovanni Marcucci recovering up to third place. Look at the Italian go. Just ahead of Ike Marve, ahead of Bobby Vacu and Matthew Heaven. Oh, and Jay Brandish, oh, there's contact. More contact further down the field. Oh, that's Chris Boxer involved. And Jay Brandish, oh, disaster for the American tracks again. More cars make the through and more contact. Is that Max Livingston this time at the receiving end of some contact? Ah, this is going to be a long session for the Stewards here today. Best viewers, no thank you. I will deal with you just in a moment because we have too much action happening. Down the inside goes Anno. Trying to make as many moves. Oh, does he go a bit too wide? He does. Amelia George retakes 9th position from Anno. Amelia doing just fine. Max Livingston up to 11th place. Oh, he was driving a little bit on the line. We got moves up ahead. Giovanni trying to keep third place away from Ike Marve. Oh, into the chicane they go. Will they make a move? Oh, Bobby was looking for it. Ike knows not to make a move into here. Max Shiladi trying to make a move for the lead. Further moves down the field. But we have side by side for Juan and Matthew Heaven. Oh, will Juan be able to squeeze on by? He might just be able to. Will they think that the move is justified? Matthew Heaven is still side by side. Oh, Jay Brandage has been disconnected. Oh, I hope he did not throw in the towels. Bobby Vacanov makes a move down the inside. Juan still side by side with Matthew Heaven. And takes that 6th position from Matthew Heaven. Late on the brakes. Little nudge. Victor Bernard right behind. And Luca gets a point for laps led. And the fastest lap currently. Until Victor Bernard came in and stole the fastest lap. But look at this. Nobody could have predicted that on the start of lap 3. This is the kind of results that we'll be looking at. Chris Boxall down in P10. Mila Jawovic up into P9 doing extremely well. If she can hang on there for quite a few more corners. And Anno still continues the ruse. Oh, side by side into the chicane. Mark thinks better of it. He's just gonna psych Luca out. Oh, gets a much better exit as side by side goes Ika and Bobby. There's going to be a hands-out fight between these two, I reckon. Oh, through the gravel escapes Luca Giboc. Oh, and more contact. So that's going to put Luca out wide. So Giovanni Marcucci is gonna potentially have a little bit of respite if Marcucci can just keep himself where he is. Especially with Bobby, Ike, Juan, Matthew, and Victor. Wow, that's a lot of bloody drivers that are going to be battling one another. As I'm saying, Victor Bernard down the inside of Matthew Heaven. Matthew's stating that, oh, this is just difficult to be consistent at Zoda. Like, nobody's consistent at Zoda, that he says. Giovanni has made his way by Luca beforehand. Oh, there's contact. Bobby spun around. Ah, disaster for Bobby. He's going to try to recover as quickly as possible. That's going to be reviewed in the stewards. I guarantee it. I mean, that's, oh, in fact, Bobby's falling even further down the field. Ah, down to P10. Ah, disaster. This is going to play right into the hands of Mark Shiladi, I guarantee you. Ike Marva is down in the 7th place. Also, Ike was involved. Ah, disaster. That's a good news for Juan. I can tell you that much for sure. Juan's going to be happy about that. Not going to be happy that Mark is up so far ahead. Side by side, Chris Boxer and Amelia. Amelia taking the racing line with Bobby just in front. As Max Livingston takes space from Simonas Ruplanas. Again, oh, I think a little bit deep on the brakes from Amelia there. That's going to let Chris Boxer away and Bobby to make a move. Amelia parks it down the middle of the road. Yeah, if you park it down the middle, oh, but down the inside goes Bobby. Look at that. Oh, I think he just kept it just within the track limits, I think, as well. But Mafia Evans still just ahead of Ike Mara there. Oh, this is not the kind of race that I think Ike was expecting. Oh, look, Amelia is still battling against Bobby. Bobby, all very heavy on the brakes, it seems like. It's almost like letting Amelia through. Look at Juan. Juan battling with Giovanni. Giovanni just running him to the line. And Giovanni keeps third spot still. Luca Giboc is still keeping up. And it looks like Max Livingston has thrown into the towel. Remember that to score points, you have to finish at least half distance, I believe. It's Victor Bernard side by side. Matthew Heaven trying on by. It looks like Juan has lost out quite a few spots. Oh, with that little tussle with Giovanni, Juan has lost out quite a few spots. Look, he's still keeping that second spot. I don't think he can believe it himself. Mark Shiladi, he can just relax a little, just preserve the car. Side by side goes Victor and Matthew into the chicane. Oh, I think a little bit of too much chicane cutting there, Victor Bernard. And they have been leaving the track and gaining an advantage. So the more these two battle, the more second place Luca and third place Giovanni gain. And we're almost at halfway distance. And I so want to get rid of somebody from the chat, but I can't because there's too much action. Ooh, a little bit too much in the brakes for Giovanni, I think. Victor wasn't expecting that. That's going to be a side-by-side action if I ever saw one. Make it 3 wide and it will be interesting. Now again, we saw Matthew Heaven doing this sort of things before, where he waits for the two to battle. He gains a spot from Victor Bernard on Giovanni. And it seems like if we saw anything, it's you don't want to go side by side through the chicane if you have few cars behind you. It looks like Giovanni will have to concede the place from Matthew Heaven. 1.9 seconds to Luca. Luca was definitely hoping that they would battle a little bit more. Juan and Nika swapping places. Bobby Vakarov 8.6 seconds back. Bobby might have to settle for that spot right there. Let's see how quickly Matthew Heaven can catch up to the back of Luca. Oh, who is that in the gravel? That's Ika Marvez in the gravel. He's just... Ika just not having the race that he had in race 1. So Matthew Heaven, half a second already caught up to the back of Luca. Giovanni still keeping within the touching distance. 3/10 out of that single corner alone. You still have 11.5 minutes left there, buddies. That's a lot of racing still left to do. But if they can finish in this order, I think everyone here will be happy. Well, except everyone not named. Well, Luca and Giovanni will be quite happy. Matthew Heaven now closing to within 1 second. Victor Bernard's Giovanni still the cork in the bottle. Still that cork in the bottle for the drivers behind. And the drivers behind will certainly want to get by, especially Juan and Nike. These two are in the championship fight. Matthew Heaven is already gone by. Max Shiladi is definitely greening. There's 8 seconds gap. Luca being a great cork in the bottle. Oh, speaking of, looks like Juan and Victor might have a little bit of a side-to-side tussle. Nothing to gain. Who's late on the brakes? Juan concedes. Tries to take a better racing line. Looks like Juan has to concede for now. Because you can park the car center of the road here. And through the chicane, you won't be able to do much. And Lucas still keeping Matthew Heaven behind. Some excellent defensive driving there from the Romanian national. Oh, a little bit of touch, another touch. I think Luca slowed down just a little bit too much. They accidentally rhymed. So that let Giovanni catch up just a little bit more. And Chris Boxer is all the way down in 12th place. Amelia is outside of the top 10. Oh no. Disaster for the Polish national. So Mafia having another chance into turn 1. No can do. Luca is way more than enough. But as we saw before, Luca has a tendency to overdrive the car and go in too deep at times. Oh, it looks like Victor finally managed to get on by Giovanni. Little bit of a slide from Victor. And I think he's on by now. But Giovanni is not letting him. Still keeping his nose in. Still trying to regain that spot. But it looks like Victor just has the car length speed he needs now. Into the chicane they go. Ooh, a little bit of a gravel. Not sure who that was. But with Giovanni now under pressure from Juan, and I think there was a bit of a touch. Giovanni gets spun around, and who is that? Is that Ika? That's Ika being... Ika being thrown into the gravel. Disaster. Disaster for the pair of them. Giovanni being spun around. Good news for Bobby. Look at Bobby coming up here. And Matthew having an end. Luca still fighting. Luca goes in too deep. Luca goes too deep and promotes Matthew having Victor Bennett up to podium places. We saw this happening before in the previous races, and it happens once again to Luca. Still running in very good points-paying positions, may I still add. But what a heartbreak for Giovanni was. If it wasn't for that little incident, I reckon he could have been up in that 4th spot himself. But that's racing. This will be sorted out in the stewards room, I am certain. Oh, as Juan looking for the outside maneuver on Luca. Switching to the inside. Oh, wild on the entrance. On the brakes. Unsettled. The weight transfer of the car lifting the rear up. Just not allowing Juan to actually make his own way by. I reckon if Mark can keep his wits about, I don't think he's going to be troubled. I think Mark's got this one in the bag. Chris Boxer went further down the field. Chris Boxer and Anno fighting even further. Juan Gramache jumping over the curbs. Let's see if Giovanni Marcucci can stay with the battling cars. Juan Gramache on course for personal best. Mark Shiladi with the fastest lap. And in fact, nobody has dipped into 125s, which is a very surprising thing to say. We saw so many 125s last race around. And my voice is going a little bit. So apologies for all that. Looks like Anno is off, and Anno is calling it quits. It's more than halfway distance. He said, done. Not doing Zoda any again. I was saying that Zoda is just a track that you cannot race, and Juan Gramache, Luca goes in very deep. Well, aggressively to the side. And goes in deep. And that allows Juan Gramache way through. So look at him out into top into 5th place. Juan is going to be looking for the charge now, up to the podium place, trying to get, okay, if I can't get Mark, at least I'll try and get Victor. I've got 6 minutes left, got 5 more laps remaining, there or thereabouts, 4 or 5. Let's see if I can make any inroads. The championship is still alive, there's still 5 more rounds after this, but every single point counts. You never know what the worst one is, and look at that. It looks like Victor and Matthew will be having a little bit of a scrap. And so is Giovanni and Luca. I think this is going to come to blows quicker. Oh, yes, it does. In fact, it does. Too deep from Giovanni Marcucci there. And even further down the field, it's Ika. And that allows Bobby Vacuino through. Oh, and Juan was hoping that would not happen. Juan was definitely hoping that these two would be able to keep them behind for a little bit more. This is definitely something that was self-inflicted by Giovanni. Definitely too deep on the brakes from Giovanni. But that means Luca keeps that top 5 spot. Bobby is only 4.8 seconds behind. Why is Zoda in Mexico? Because it has the same vibes. Well, the next track definitely is not Zoda. Next track will be Lago Maggiore, so I reckon a lot of drivers will have a lot of fun with that one. But he has certainly thrown in a few surprise results here. Look at G-Boch up in 5th place. Giovanni Marcucci could have had such a great race, I reckon. He's now got 1 second behind, 4.5 minutes left. Mark Schiladi is long gone. Nobody should be bothering him. But Victor Bernard and Matthew Heaven, now that's a duo that would scrap. Certainly we can see Victor, and we can see what he means when he says he actually likes Zoda. The man certainly had a decent, quite a good chance of winning the race if Mark wasn't so far ahead. If Mark didn't get, well, one might not say lucky, as Mark says the fastest lap of the race. If Mark didn't get so lucky with the drivers up ahead, dispatching them so quickly. Next time we will race at Monaco. I reckon that will be just a fantastic race. Andrew Bayard just half a second behind Chris Boxer, so Chris Boxer up into P10. But again, you look at the top 10s. Film drivers, you don't really see that much often in there. Look at G-Boch up into 5th place. So quite a good run from the Romanian on the second go. 3 minutes left, 3 laps remaining. This one, and then 2 after. Mark Schiladi again extending his lead. We now see a few more drivers into 125s. Victor and Juan. Juan trying to his hardest to catch, but even when battling, it seems like Matthew and Victor are just in their own little league. Yeah, a track that is notoriously difficult to pass. A frequent feature on GT racing. Swan coming by in 4th place. Ike Marves has the absolute fastest middle sector. He will be looking to get back at Bobby at least. He's got 2 more laps to try and take out as much time from out of Bobby as possible. It was 1:28 for Bobby. Last round was 1:26.1 for Ike. And I think Giovanni has been dispatched into 8th place now. As Victor Bernard now side by side around the outside of Matthew Heaven. Does he have the grip? Does he have the drive? Will we have the speed advantage on the exit? Let's find out. Side by side they go. Ooh, not quite. Victor has to concede this time around and try a better exit. Side by side into the chicane. Who's going to be late on the brakes? Matthew Evans late on the brakes. Takes the racing line and keeps the lead. You will have 2 more chances at that. Ike Marve closed up 9/10 to the back of Bobby. Ooh, grass for both of them. That's the exact things that Juan wants to see. Look at that. He's already 2.5 seconds. 2 seconds lost between the 2 of them. Oh, maybe 2 laps is what Juan needs. That's Chris Boxer is off. Chris Boxer is off. Was that self-inflicted? It looks like it was self-inflicted. So Victor Bernard is still battling. Juan Gramage licking his lips at the possible chance of a 2nd place finish. That will be a great result for the Spaniard. Ike Marva licking his own lips, looking for that 6th place to take away from Bobby Vakov and potentially have a top 5 finish. We are entering, or this is, I think, the final lap. Matthew Heaven says the fastest lap time as Victor Bernard tries again. A move on Matthew Heaven. But he may be conceding. It looks like Matthew has done just enough to keep him away this time around. But can Bobby keep Ike behind? He does have a slow-moving Luca in front of him. And I reckon if anything comes to blows, it will be this battle right here. 8 seconds. This is the final lap. This is no more chances. I said 2 more chances, but no, there's no more 2 more chances. It looks like Ike gets the better drive out of the chicane. Side by side they go. Ike will have to hold back. There's another chance to go. Outside of this and into the hairpin. That's where you have the chance. Mark Shiladi is coming across the start-finish line right now. As Matthew Heaven are side by side. Who's gonna be late on the brakes? Who's gonna try? Oh, Victor's trying to hang in there. Oh, a little bit of wild on the exit, and unfortunately Matthew Heaven retakes that second place. Mark finishes first. Matthew Heaven will take that second place. Victor will take third place. Ike Marva, oh, Ike Marva, look at just all of them across the track. What happened here? Luca keeps that fifth place. Something happened. Bobby takes that sixth place. Oh, just ahead. Just behind even of Luca G, but just Ika takes 7th place. What happened there? Behind. Giovanni takes 8th place. 9th place for Sebastian Lopez. That's great result. 10th place for Andrew Bayer. Chris Boxer comes 11. He will be definitely disappointed. And Jovovich will come across in 12th place. Whatever happened there on the final chance? On the final run? I don't even know. That was... I will have to be reviewed. Oh, so good race. Such good racing here. Even the few bits that you can race, this was some fantastic racing around here. Ah, what a race. What results. What could have been for so many drivers. But it's Mark Shiladi that takes the win, with Matthew securing another second place finish just ahead of Victor Bernard. Let's see if anybody drivers wants to have an interview. Right, let's see if we can hear from any of the race winners. There's quite a few good there's quite a lot of good racing here and there. Let's see if any of our race winners. We've got Luca. Let's see if any of the race winners. Let's see if we can hear from race winners Mark and Ika. Drivers, Ika will be less happy. I think Mark might be interested. And actually, in fact, it's quite interesting because Mark and Ika finishing the exact same races, just reversed for each race. I believe Mark finished 7th place in race 1. Ika won. Ika's 7th place and Mark is first. But actually, let's bring in the team of Plus Ultra Team Automobilismo. Bloody hell, I need to actually get the things nearby. Let's do Plus Ultra Team Automobilismo. I'm not sure whether they wanted to, but they're here anyway. Ike Marave, congratulations on race 1 win. Juan, good effort there. Result. Great racing from Sidewinder Motorsport. It seems like you guys were very much elbows out against Sidewinders, and particularly in race 2.
Elbows, feet, knees, everything.
The whole body.
How was it out there for you? Zoda seems to be quite a difficult track to do any sort of racing around, but even so, you guys were door banging, throwing each other into the gravel, especially in race 2. There's been a few cars that have just flung across the gravel. Ike, you managed to find a Kitty Lisa more than once.
Yeah, I had good. I don't know if it's a good pace in the first race, and I managed to flew up into the distance, but in the second race was everything chaos, and sooner or later I was going to have some incidents around the track.
Now, you seem to have completely had the Zoda figured out. Race 1, you took the lead from Chris Boxer and did not look back. And Juan, you seem to have almost been able to make your way by Bobby Vakuinov, and that would have been great championship points away taken. That would allow you to close up onto the pair of them in the standings.
Yeah, that was the goal until he opened the trajectory a bit too much and we collided and I had to lift off. And maybe I could have been in a better position to overtake him in the next corner, but sadly that wasn't the case. We'll see if that's more than a racing incident, but the stewards will say.
Oh, definitely, the stewards will say. But with Zolder now being such a polarizing track, how did you guys enjoy yourselves out there? I know there's a lot of grid that just absolutely hated it, but I have a feeling you might have actually enjoyed it, Ika, seeing as your pace throughout the race.
Yeah, I'm like a roller coaster. Sometimes I lose, sometimes I win. I don't know what is going on with me. I don't know. It's the the breaking points are a bit difficult. I had the same issue as I think it was Chris. Shadows changes as well, but still I managed to do some race simulation in practice, so I think I had a consistency ready for the race in in those terms.
I was very
Oh,
scared before the race because I didn't have pace. I was like 4 tenths behind everyone, and then I found some pace and also racecraft and overtaking. I think I was the one with along with Victor who made most overtakes or at least tried. Maybe I was a bit too aggressive, but it was the only way to go here in Zolder. Everyone around us were the same. But it was very fun. I was hoping to get some points, but having the fun is also good.
So, looking forward, are you guys looking forward to Lago Maggiore, the full layout of that track that we raced in Season 1?
It's gonna be so difficult.
it's going to be different, especially compared with Solder.
It has the type of corners that this car doesn't like, which is the braking under while turning. So I guess that's gonna be a big difference between the drivers who are able to do that kind of corners better.
Indeed, so.
But, yeah, but the same as we are here in the top are gonna be at the top in the next races. This championship is awesome.
Yeah, it has proven to be quite a extremely close championship because I don't know who's gonna win. I don't even after qualifying, I still don't know who's gonna win. Who's gonna end up
Vittorio.
probably Vittorio, or the Stig,
Or Ben.
or Ben, yeah.
Ben probably.
Yeah, probably. Ben. You still don't know who's gonna win. Who's gonna end up in that top 5? Luca has managed to stay in that top 5, so that has been quite a race from himself. But yeah, looking forward to more racing, and good luck to you in Lago Maggiore. And let's see if either of you Spaniards are able to retake that championship.
We hope.
I hope, yeah. We hope. It's
Right.
only hope that we have. We have nothing else.
Well,
Wait for the second half of the season dominance.
second half season dominance. There's so many different tracks in the second half of the season, so that's going to be interesting. Well, thank you again. I will put you back into Brazil, and we will bring Mark Shiladi. Race 1 victory and race 2 victory, race 1 7th place. You had the exact same finishing positions as Iker did in race 1, just inverted.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Iker won the first race and finished 7th, and I think you finished 7th in race 1 and won the second.
Yeah, Iker had a pretty incredible pace at the beginning. Like, I was just making mistakes in the first race, to be honest. I had that horrible lockup in the hairpin, and from then on, it was just me trying to get past Juan, and it didn't work. So,
Yeah,
but race 2 went better.
yeah, I was speaking with the Plus Ultra team Automobilismo, and it seems like Sidewinders and Plus Ultra, there seems to be very much elbows out racing this time around. Was it enjoyable for you, or do you think that you guys kept within the rule book most of the time?
Absolutely. I mean, they are very, very competent guys, and I'm confident staying side by side with them. And yeah, it was good racing, apart from the couple netcode moments, maybe.
Yeah, potentially. And given the finishing, it seems like you are poised in a good chance to take to championship lead by the halfway of the season. Now, Zoda is a very tricky circuit to pass, so it's a good question to find. Did you enjoy yourself out there? Did you enjoy the track, or did you find that it was just a bit of a pain in the ass.
You said it well then. Yeah, it was not the best experience from this season. Let's keep it at that.
Fair enough. So very polarizing. Some people say best race of the season. Some people say worst race of the season. What is actually shaping up to be a highlight for a lot of drivers is Lago Maggiore in next round, which is the track from Gran Turismo, and a lot of people are looking forward to it, which should be quite a much different experience to Zoda.
Yes, I have never driven the track actually, so it's gonna be a fun couple of practice laps. But I reckon it can be worse than Zolder, right?
So now, given the points and your results in the races so far, you guys seem to be the team to beat. Are you guys confident that you have what it takes to finish the second half of the season and take home the prize? And which one of you do you think is actually the most likely to win the Drivers' Championship?
Oh, that's a hard question because the drop rounds spice things up a bit more even, and yeah, both of us are pretty quick. I think Bobby is way more consistent than me. He just had a bad race this time around, but he's a guy to look out for the other championship contenders as well.
Definitely. To be honest, it's funny you should say that because definitely you have higher highs and lower lows, and Bobby is definitely way more consistent across his points. But if I let you on a little secret, if we factor in a single drop round, if the championship was to finish now, and not factoring Zoda, there's only 4 points between you and Bobby, if you factor in drop rounds.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I know Matthew has it really well when it comes to the drop round standings.
Matthew has been consistent. He has been scoring extremely well past races, and he could be another championship contender. Definitely between Sidewinders plus Ultra and definitely Matthew Heaven. I reckon there were a few other drivers that would be, but unfortunately they're not driving us consistently. But you got to turn up to win.
Yes, it's still gonna be an interesting fight for the ultimate championship standings.
Well, thank you for your race today. Looking forward to seeing what you guys can do in Lago Maggiore. Because as I said before, with this series, I have no idea who's gonna come first, who's gonna be in the top 10 even. Even after qualifying, it was Chris, Ika, and then you, and then the race one result was all over the place.
Yes, thank you, Matt, for the interview.
Right, you take care of yourself, and let's bring in who was actually first. I think it was Giovanni Marcucci. Giovanni, what driving the race too. You had pulled some Star Wars defense, and it looked like you could have been repeated that what you've done at Long Beach and finished on that podium or around the podium. But few incidents have scuppered your way. Quite contrasting to race one actually.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's all there isn't the track you are most consistent with. Everyone was a bit inconsistent, so on me it would have even greater effects since I'm not the top drivers. So I kind of make mistakes on my own already. So it's all there isn't exactly the track I was looking for. But it is a tight track, and that allowed me to defend pretty well. Only in the later laps when I was battling, I think Juan and Iker, I misjudged how close I was to one of them, and I spun out. But I fortunately quickly got back on the circuit, and that allowed me to continue still a bit. I tried to do a move on Luca Gibok, but I failed to do so because the sausage curbs in the second chicane are somewhat deadly. And yeah, if I didn't do that move, I would have probably finished higher and surpassed Gibok. But it is what it is. Sometimes races don't go your way.
Indeed, and it seems like it was going so well. You put in some very good defensive driving there, and it seems like this circuit very much it requires you to have 2 second advantage over somebody to properly pass them around.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't really having an advantage. It was more like being bold in some parts of the track to try and overtake. Because, for example, the first chicane, you can't overtake there. It's almost unlikely. The second chicane is more likely, and the turns after are more likely. But the second chicane is literally almost impossible to overtake there. So by using that, I used that to my advantage and try to force my opponents behind to be really close, approaching that chicane so that I could use the tightness of that chicane to hold them on.
And it's been working out for the first time. I was like in the commentary, I was like hoping can Giovanni make another podium appearance here today? But you do certainly have another chance of that trying to in future rounds with Long Beach. But before Long Beach, we have Lago Maggiore. Now, are you looking forward to Lago Maggiore yourself?
Yeah, Lago Maggiore. I mean, it's an Italian homeland. It's my Italian homeland. Even if it's fictional, it's a fictional track, and I mean, it doesn't have pretty much value other than that. But I mean, for me, it's kind of heartwarming that I'll get the chance to race in my country, even if it's not a real circuit, but it is still my country. So maybe I can do better in front of my tifosi, or I don't know, I could do anything. But I've seen that it is a wider track than Zolder, so maybe more overtaking possibilities.
It's definitely a extremely fun track, and if I'm not mistaken, apart from Americans, the only track people who have a home race are the French and the Italians, and both of the track are fictional.
Yeah, I mean, uh, that seems kind of a coincidence, but I don't mind. Um, it's a good thing to have some homeland tracks. Could bring some clout. Um, but I mean, since it's fictional, it doesn't provide me much value. It would have been better if we had the race on like Imola or Mugello, but I appreciate anyways.
Potentially, we will have it in the future rounds, and future championships are going to be very interesting. There might be a little bit of a callback to earlier seasons in Let for Racing, but that's for later. But thank you, Giovanni, for racing here. Well done on the results today, and looking forward to seeing you stepping on that podium in Lago Maggiore.
Yeah, or Lago Maggiore or Long Beach. I have mostly two possibilities.
So
Maybe
yes,
even in future rounds if I have the pace to do so.
we'll just replace the American flags in Long Beach with Italian ones and say it's in Milan or somewhere, or Sicily.
I wouldn't mind, but Long Beach, I think the reason why I was good at Long Beach, it was also because it is an American track.
So yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing you there. Hope to see more of Race League Rising Stars representation. I know Alexander Gambler has took in race one, hasn't raced since, so definitely hoping to see more Race League Rising Stars because I think you guys could have quite a good fight with SFWRT and LEF for teams championships.
It's difficult to convince my teammates to race because since Kaiser, Jacob, and others left because of they complained about the racing standards, I'm the only one basically that still believes somehow, like Ferrari tifosis, but Alexandre was still kind of believing, have to convince him somehow if he wants to come back. But if he doesn't, I can't do much about it.
Oh, here's hoping. Until then, thank you again for your racing. Hope to see you in 2 weeks' time. And any final words to your adoring fans?
I don't know if I have any fans, but if I have any, Forza Italia.
Thank you very much. I will now put you back in Brazil, and let's have final interview. I'm not sure whether Matthew Heaven is up for an interview. I'll ask him later. Hello, Andrew. How are you doing? What a race have you had today? You had quite a few interesting potions. Mostly went under radar for us in the commentary booth. Such was the chaos up around you, and you just seem to have had a more of a calmer race.
Oh well, in spite of everything, I feel strangely elated. You know, with everything that happened to me, my reaction was surprisingly meh. It's just like, oh well, you're having a laugh.
Race
yeah.
2 seemed to have seemed to be quite promising, but it all was undone right at the start of the race.
Yes, I mean, if anything, I believe it's a firm reminder of just how quickly your race can go from, I don't know, potential podium to 10-lap magic or something. Yeah. I mean, I did the best I could. Race 1 was alright. I had some action. I made up some positions. That's good and all. And race 2 was, well, I made the best of it, I'll say. From what I saw, my teammate wasn't exactly doing the best. And I also have not heard anything from him, not even on our server, so I'm not sure what's up with him.
Yes, it's such a shame for because Jay Brandish, I definitely had a feeling that he would be capable of finishing quite well around that top 10. He certainly showed the pace at the practice server, and if he just finished the race, he would have been still scoring some good points with 13th place.
Certainly. And I do owe some of the things that have happened to the simple nature of Zolder as a track. I mean, if you're not doing kickflips over curves, you're almost always trying not to crash into someone. Like, you're right on them. It's always super awkward. Because if you can't get past them, it's like, alright, what do I do now? Most of the time I found that just coasting my way through the corners was the safest and most efficient way to actually stay on someone. Especially with the first chicane. There wasn't much, there also wasn't that much consistency to speak of, but again, I do owe some of that to Zolder as a track. And yeah, it overall went better than I expected, aside from those few incidents. And I had relatively minimal incidents aside from some incidents with Amelia in the first and second race. First time around, I think it was just a matter of different breaking points or break points that were too different or something. Second time around, I do think it was more my fault. I got a little too overzealous in the throttle. But aside from that, it just kind of happened. I had a bit of a weird landing going through the first chicane in the second race. It sent me off. A few laps later, same thing happened with Chris Boxall. And so, it's what it is.
It is what it is, and I know Zoda is a very polarizing track, but what track's not too polarizing is, I think, the track that you're looking the most on this calendar, and that's Lago Maggiore.
Absolutely. I've said it before. I've said it again and again, but of course not for no reason. Lago Maggiore, not just for the fact, due to the matter of fact that it's a Gran Turismo original circuit, just because, but also because I believe it's just generally a great circuit. I'm very much looking forward to that. And as I've mentioned last time, I've also got some special deliveries planned for Lago Maggiore, so do look out for that. It'll be a callback to effectively the very first time that we ever raced here at Leadpole Racing. And that was technically a livery that we only used for that very first race while I was still getting to grips with livery making in Assetto Corsa. But yeah, do watch out for that. I think they turned out pretty nicely.
Certainly, and then certainly going to look forward to what you and SFWRT will be up to. Now, you mentioned that Jay Brandish, well, he's a bit of a soda. He certainly showed a good pace. He was actually almost matching and almost exceeding your pace at practice.
Yeah, I believe it's mostly it's alright and all to have the potential to go fast, but on a track like Zolder, I believe it matters much more with how well you're able to string it together. Because even very slight mistakes or inaccuracies can often very quickly cascade into huge time losses. At least that's what I thought. And it can be quite frustrating at times. But then again, once you do get it right, it's pretty nice, but only when you actually get it right. So it is indeed a very polarizing track.
Indeed. So thank you again for racing here. Looking forward to seeing what SFWRT will be up to in Lago Maggiore. I am expecting big things now that you've talked up the special livery, so I'm expecting a amazing thing there. Definitely looking forward to seeing that, and we will see you in 2 weeks.
All right. Stay frosty.
Thank you, and let's bring in the final interview. Matthew Heaven, a double podium finish, seemed to be like quite a good result. Seeing after qualifying, seemed like there were quite a few number of drivers who had the better measure of you. But as I've said before, even after qualifying, I can bloody tell who's gonna finish where.
I could have had a better qualifying lap, but I messed it up. I messed up chicane, but I don't think it would have mattered anyway. This race was also quite hectic, and I definitely wasn't performing at my best. I probably wouldn't have gotten 2 podiums if others also were struggling with the track. It seemed like everyone was having an off day.
It seemed to be like quite a very interesting races. You had quite a long battle with Chris Box, and it was only from Chris going wide at the very last, pretty much very penultimate corner in race 1 that you managed to sneak on by Chris, who put up a good defense. And in second race, it seemed like it was Victor who was trying to make his way by and just almost getting the better of you.
Yeah, that was very close. I'm surprised because there's barely any room in some places, and I'm not sure if you saw it on the broadcast, but we even went side by side through the sector 2 chicane, and it somehow didn't end in tips.
I saw you going side by side through that sector, through chicanes with quite a few people. I think the second chicane is where you got Luka Giboc on the exit.
Yeah.
So apart from that, with the double place podiums, how are you feeling for this championship fight? It seems like every single round you go into, it seems like you outscore everyone by quite a few number of points, which bodes very well for you come the drop rounds. You thinking of the championship just yet?
I hope I don't have performances like this too often for the championship. But if it continues like this, yeah, I'd say I have a good chance.
Definitely, and speaking of the future rounds, Lago Maggiore is up next. Are you familiar with the track? Gran Turismo Special and Original, a loved track by a lot of people. Very different to Zoda.
Yeah. I've tried it a little bit in Assetto Corsa. I haven't played it in Gran Turismo, but I wouldn't say I know it that well, so it'll be interesting to see how I do.
Well, happy to hear that. And how are you enjoying the racing that has been provided to you thus far in 3 rounds now that you've taken part in?
I definitely enjoyed this race despite the track and despite me not performing at the best. There's multiple factors that go into that, I suppose. Feeling a bit tired, I suppose.
Fair enough. Well, I shan't keep you too long. I will release you now, and then hopefully see you in 2 weeks. And wondering whether you retake more points away from those ahead of you.
The next track is much nicer from what I remember, so hopefully there'll be less chaos.
And hopefully less mental strain.
Yeah, Zelda is just mentally draining when you're in a pack.
That you had the
Because of-
pack of quite competent drivers around you, which did not make your
Yeah.
life easy. Oh, thank you for your participation here today. I will release you back, and I will now wrap up the transmission. Thank you again to everyone that has taken part here today. Thank you to all the drivers. You have put on some fantastic racing. Every single points playing position has been filled today. Great turnout. Hopefully we can see even bigger turnout at Lago Maggiore, a track which is beloved by many. Thank you everyone watching. Thank you
Don't let yourself down. Don't let yourself go. Your last chance has arrived.